Alright, then here are a couple of figures that are in my disappointing figures for 2022. I wouldn't say they're the worst figures, but they're just disappointing in certain ways. And I'm gonna go in no particular order, and let's start off with 89 Batman. And in all honesty, the figure is not horrendous or anything like that, but it's just body proportion is off. You might not be able to see, but it is off, and the body they decided to use felt a little cheap, and the joints just doesn't feel great, and actually the belt is a little too tight on him, and then he's wearing panties, so that's really bad. It is it does not look good on him. I do understand what they're trying to do with the rest of the body. They glue down some of the pieces as muscle pieces onto a fabric suit, and it just doesn't translate that well when it comes to turning it into a figure. So yeah, the head sculpts are nice. It comes with 3 extra face plates, and they don't really look like Michael Keaton, but as a Batman, he looks decent, not bad at all. But unfortunately, the cowl doesn't stay on that well, and the emblem does not lay flat on the chest. It's just a bunch of missteps that it needs to be refined a bit more in order for this figure to come out to be perfect. And they're charging, this figure is about 120, 30, somewhere around there, and the quality of it is just a little below average for me. So that's why this guy is on my list. Okay, and next up on my list for a disappointing figure would be my Mezco Big Chap that just came out, and a little disappointed with this guy because the bodysuit that they chose, they decided to use silicone material for the bodysuit. Granted, it hides all the joints and all, but it didn't translate well. It didn't transition well to the other parts of the body parts, like the feet, and it looks like this guy's wearing pants, and the bottom of the pants right there, it flares out too much. It does not look realistic at all, and mine has 2 left feet, and I have yet to hear back from Mezco yet, so I'll give them a little more time because it is around Christmas and New Year, so hopefully by next week they'll message me back and give me the replacement part that I needed. And then the arms, looks like he has sleeves on, which is I just can't unsee that, so that's another part. And also the neck, to me it felt a little too short, and the dome is not milky white, it's more grayish to dark color, and the bodysuit, even though it's painted nicely, is to me doesn't look like the correct color. I think it needs a little more grayish tone to it, like the Kotobukiya version. That would make it look amazingly perfect. But for now, the legs, mostly the limbs, they just look too thick for my taste, even though it's a person wearing the suit, but to me they just look too thick. Again, it looks completely like a person wearing a suit, like a person wearing sleeves and pants on. So yeah. And next up is another Batman. This time is by SHF. Now this is much better already because I switched out the cape. I made a custom cape for it, so now it flows nicely across the shoulder onto his back. It doesn't have that weird transition where it went from hard plastic to soft goods. So yeah, but now you can see he looks much better. In my opinion, he looks much better. And on the back, you can see how the cape floats all the way down to the floor, and without that weird plastic-looking piece. Here's another look. Figure itself is pretty decent. I'm happy with the articulation and all that stuff. Some people say his legs are too short. I think it's an illusion due to where they did the thigh cut joint right there. It's too pronounced. On this side, a little bit better because it is hidden by the harness that's on his thigh. But on this side it's not, so you could clearly see a cut right there, and it's very pronounced. So when you're looking at it, you are kind of seeing the legs start from this point on to the bottom, so it looks a little weird, but you probably need to count the top portion of it, around the crotch area. That's part of the legs too, so yeah. So body wise, I think he is okay, but some people are just saying his legs are too short. I think it is an illusion due to where they cut the thigh joints. And yeah, but overall it's a disappointing figure because of the cape. I had to do modification myself, and since paying for a figure like that, I shouldn't have to do modification myself, but this was a pretty easy modification, and I made a video on how to do that, so you guys could check it out. And yeah, it's definitely an easy process, and you could do that yourself and turn it into a fully cloth cape for Batman, and it'll make this figure a lot better, actually. And lastly, here is the Selfie figure from Hasbro. Hasbro Selfie series. It was a good idea on paper, but execution-wise, I think it's poorly done. The app didn't work too well. I had to scan quite a few times in order to get a good sculpt, a good head. No, not even a good head, but just for the app to finish and processing. Yeah, it took quite a few tries before I was able to process this head sculpt out, and it looks nothing like me. It's too chunky. I don't look that chunky at all, and but through their advertising, they made it look like it's gonna look exactly like you. And during the Hasbro polls, people were acting like, oh, this is like a mini version of yourself, and it looks absolutely amazing and all that stuff. But in reality, it's not. It doesn't look that great. I think 9 out of 10 people would tell you it's a fail. As far as the likeness is concerned, I think mainly is because the app is just not that great. There are other apps out there, but it will take more time more time on your end to prepare those images of yourself. But through this app that Hasbro uses, it's a lot faster, where you're just scanning the face, your front portion of your face, through your camera, but it didn't turn out that great, and yeah, not something that I would do again. Initially, I was thinking of making a few of them, one Ghostbuster and one Stormtrooper, but at the end, I wasn't happy with the result, and I'm definitely not gonna do it again unless they update the software somehow, and or completely revamp the software, because right now it is not worth it, and they're charging $80 for it. Is definitely not worth doing, even for novelty, because it does not look like me at all, and I've had people tell me that they did theirs and also looks nothing like them either. So this is definitely the most disappointing figure for me in 2022, and it costs quite a bit. And might as well add in a couple of honorable mentions to this video. One that I was happy about, but didn't make my top 10 list, was this one, the Cyclops, the new version of Cyclops. This is the 90s cartoon cartoon classic version. They did a little bit of cell shading to make it look more cartoony, but to me, the reason I want to mention this one is because they updated some of the issues they have with the previous version, which are those straps around the thigh section, and although the boot section, the top of the boots, they had these straps that go over the body itself, and they tend to fall off quite easily. They don't stay put that well, and they're pretty thick. But now they decided to do away with those and then resculpt those shoes, those shins. I guess, yeah. Well, part of the boots. So I would just say the top of the boot section, and also these thigh straps. They kind of incorporated them onto the thigh section, so that's nice. And then the sleeves, those bracelets. They're more glued down now, so that's good. And the main thing is this harness that's around his torso. Now they cut it into separate pieces, and one section is attached to the abdominal section, which is free from the chest section. So now when he do abdominal crunch or arches, it won't affect the harness at all. And here's a look at the back side of him, and you can see the harness is completely glued down to the torso, and the abdominal section, the back section, you can see. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but I guess you could kind of see it. It's a separate piece. And if I rotate him back to the front, you could also kind of see that strap is a separate piece. And it's not a one strap that goes all the way around, so that's good. So it doesn't impede with the articulation at all now. So that's good. And one issue I have is that they could easily add in the other head sculpt, the screaming head sculpt with the optic blast. That would have been nice, because it's just a reissue anyway, so that would have been nice to add that in and then just repaint that, because this figure is not cheap. It's $27.99, so it's almost well, with tax and everything, it's almost $30. So for $30, I would assume I get a lot more accessories than what they provided us with, which are only a few extra hands, and that was it. A different head sculpt and effect piece would have been nice. And another honorable mention would be these Mafex figure. These are based on the Avengers Endgame movie. All three turned out great. Head sculpts are fantastic. I think Mafex doing way better with their head sculpts and paint job now. They aren't looking all pale and stuff. The articulation is good, and the joints are pretty tight, so I'm happy about that. And these three turned out fantastic, and even though they're a lot later, they come out a lot later than what other companies would do. I think with SHF, they usually come out with something very close to the movie end. Then they'll produce figures. With Hasbro, they come out almost before the movie comes out. So, and there are other companies. No, I think that's about it. Those are the main three that I could really think of that would produce these type of characters, these type of figures. But yeah, with Mafex, you have to wait almost a year later in order for those figures to come on pre-order, and then you probably have to wait another year before they come out. So you're thinking about 2 years after the movie when their figures will come out. And it's worth the wait, because their figures are getting way better, a lot better than before. And these turned out fantastic, and happy to have them in my collection. So yeah, that's why I wanna mention Mafex a little bit, because their figures are doing so good these days. And also even their comic stuff, a lot of the comic based figures, they turned out fantastic. Like the classic Spider-Man, the DC Hush stuff, Those are all fantastic looking figures, and the sculpts are very accurate. Very accurate to how they look in the comics too. So Mayfax is definitely a company that a lot of people might want to keep an eye out on because their figures are just getting better and better. Alright, another two figures I want to mention. Well, not really figures per se, but the company itself, Mesco, they do fantastic job with their figures. Granted that they sometimes they do produce some not so good figures, like some disappointing ones, like the big chap. It's just sometimes I don't get why they chose specific materials for these products, for these figures. Like someone mentioned to me in a comment section about Dark Side, where it's weird, and he brought up Dark Side about the choice of material they use. Polystone for that figure. Granted that he is the character is more like a stone-based type character, but you don't really want to use a polystone to create a figure, because that material will break if you aren't careful, and it's just there's a lot of issues that could come up with figures like those. And granted that the dark side will feel very heavy, and you feel like you're getting your money's worth, and the material kind of matches the character, but still, I think I would have been happy if they chose plastic and charges a little less for it than what they charge for the figure itself. But as far as other ones like these from Rumble Society figures, their own IP stuff, I think they turn out fantastic. Like this one, they have a comic based off of the character, and they made a whole backstory. Well, I'm not sure, but I think they made a whole backstory with these characters, and even these pink chaos characters. They create a lot of backstory for these characters to develop them and give them life. So you feel like you're getting something. You're getting a lot more than just figure itself. You're getting a whole story of the characters and their origin and just the accessories too. The amount of accessories you get with these figures are quite astonishing, especially with the band. These three characters in a band, I think it's called, what's that? Pink Skulls Chaos Club, and they come with outfits, a lot of outfits, the different jacket, the wife beater, and also a lot of accessories, different heads. The set comes with 9 heads, I believe, and tons of hands, and then band equipment, guitar, 2 guitars, one guitar, 1 bass, and a set of drums. So there's a lot going on, and even the box art, they went above and beyond. They designed it so nice that you want to keep the box and you want to preserve it. They doubled it as a base, as a stage for it. That looks fantastic, and comes with an LP and lots of promotional item like stickers and stuff like that, even a poster and t-shirt. So they went deep when they're developing these characters. So gotta give them props for creating something like that and not just straight up producing figures and that's it. It gives a little more love to the characters that they produce, like Gomez. That one, I'm still hoping that they will redo the samurai outfit for Gomez. I do want to pick that one up, but they all have backstories and a lot of interesting stuff that goes along with the figure. So, well, even though they charge us a little bit more, like the band with the 3 characters is gonna set you back $300, but you feel like you do get your money's worth with the amount of accessories that these figures come with, and the poster, the t-shirt, and all that other stuff, makes it feel worth the purchase. And with this guy, it comes with light up features. He's got light up eyes and a light up lantern and a comic book, and for about, I believe it was $100 or so, somewhere around there, or a little bit more. Can't remember just off the top of my head, but yeah, with Mezco, you're definitely getting your money's worth. Their figures, and tailoring on these figures are really good too. Like because these are all 1/12 scale, and they do look like 1/12 scale outfits too. It's not just producing figures with large patterns of fabrics. They are stitch to the proportion of these characters, so that's nice. Proportion of these to these characters. So there you have it. These are my disappointing figures, along with my honorable mentions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to comment and let me know which figures are your disappointment for 2022, you're welcome to put it down in the comment section, and we'll have a discussion on that. So hopefully 2023 will be a lot better, and happy New Year's to everyone, and continue watching my videos, and I will continue making them. Thanks for watching.